customers, I'm Captain Eddie Castellan. I'm only here for a few moments. I invited you into the shop. Glad you made it. It's been a long time since we did something. Yeah, really. It's been a long time. And I want to show it to you. It's called my happy dance. You got to stick around and you got to see this. So what I want you to do is watch. Really, I've got a piece I turned 3-4 years ago, and I put a fitting in the top of it and did a little thing. Then I taped it to a wood block for a glue block to hold it in my one way. All right, so I got the piece and a glue block one way. Then I brought up my tailstock, and I have that lightly touching on the end of it. And with all this put together, I got a guy Ronnie here to help me bail this all out. All this together again, I want you to watch right there. Right there. And you know, I went to turn the lathe on using this. This turns the lathe on. That's it. I'm turning wood. Happy dance time in the shop. And that's as good as we dance here at Big Eye Productions. Really, we don't dance any more than that. But the lathe is running. We're making shavings. And if you haven't been to my website, go there now, www.eddiecastellan.com, or give me a call if you're looking to buy cutters. I got the best prices on the planet. That's guaranteed. All right, good. I'm going to making shavings. I don't know what you're doing. I'm making shavings. Got to find the right remote. We're going to pick this up somewhere, somehow, whatever, and go again, but I've got everything set up, and I have this piece of wood. The bottom line is I put a foot on this bowl, and I want to turn that bowl, that bottom line, and remember I now have it between centers, right? I got the tailstock up on one side, the head on the other side with the chuck. So I'm between centers. I'm the safest I can be in turning right now. That's important because I don't want any vibration. Now I'm going to take a tool and reshape this tailpiece. Very little vibration. You can see my very little on here, very little chatter on it. Over here I got a little bit more because of the tape. But when I get down to where I don't have the tape, and trust me, if you touch the tape too close to your tailstock and your tool rest, it'll bite. These bites you don't want. All right, now we got that. I'm going to take a tool and shape up this bottom. Now we did a few cuts in this. I've got a 3/8 inch Ellsworth deep groove gouge that's been sharpened on the Ellsworth grinding rake, and this one's got a little bit of hook to it. I gotta resharpen it and take it out, but I know the hook is really sharp and can do the little fine cutting. So that's what I'm taking to go in and find me a flat. Make a sweet little cut. You want to see that closer, don't you? Watch it, man. Number 2 is always good. You see what I'm talking about in that tool? That's a double bevel. The double bevel is something I do with my Blackhawk sharpening rig because it's easy. Because I don't use that bottom piece of the cutter. I don't use that. It's just beef. So I'm going to take it over here. I'm going to put it on there. I'm going to find a ride. A ride is where I can ride the bevel. Can you hear it? That was a whole lot of cutter, a little bit of bevel. But we're going to go back and reverse it. What I want you to see is that See the little curly cues? This is African Blackwood. You don't normally get curly cues. Unless you're slicing. I'm not using a gouging. I am taking the gouge, getting my bearing, I'm rodding my bevel, and I'm taking a little fine cut. Now, that's what I wanted to do. I think you got to get a little closer. This is what I'm talking about. Not a scraper, it's a gouge. But watch. I'm going here. See that little edge? Knock that little edge off. And I'll put the bevel against the wood. And that's why it's looking a little burnished. And I'm sliding it around. And as I swing the end of the handle, I'm getting the cut I want. Now that is as fine can get. It's sliced really nice. There's a little burnishing. And what do we do about burnishing? Burnishing just means you cut with pressure. You've rubbed the tool against it. Hold on. A lot of plane traffic and you're hearing it today. When you burnish something, what you've done is rub the bevel, you've compressed the fibers and you sliced them. Number one, you get a good smooth cut because you're running compressed slices, compressed grain, which means you can control that cutting edge a whole lot better. You can make it go in and dish and dive and come right back out. And you have to move. You have to dance with the tool. Put it in it. I don't have any belly at all to get in my way. Right. But if you dance with the tool, then you can do this and you'll get a better cut. But I burnished it. Now what do? Well, let's stop the lathe. And I love it when everything's working right. Oh, this isn't. Oh well. Oh, I can get a little bit. Now, so when everything's working right, this lathe problem was a unnatural disaster. The lathe got a little wet in a flood, a little. Probably could have been saved, but I couldn't think and work it out. So about a month ago, Ronnie came by, we were doing some stuff and said we had to get that controller off and send it the one way. He climbed down on the floor, got under the lathe, took the controller out, we labeled it all up, shipped it back to one way. They worked on it, repaired it, rebuilt it, refabbed it, whatever they had to redo, and shipped it back to me. Then we put it all back together. Didn't put all the wires in right spots. So I called them back. And I was extremely apologetic to them about having to bother them with this and all. And they had one explanation. We're here for 100% customer service. We're not the calling center. We're not the sales department. We're here to help you. And they did. And I mean, I'm off base with this. This is way fantastic. They stayed on the phone with me enough time. We made the changes, tested all the components, made sure everything was running, and it is. And I found out I got another bad switch, and they're going to replace the switch for me. It's one of my switches, not that we sent them. But that's what you get when you deal 100%. Now, you can't do a one-way. It's okay. You can do a Jet. You can do a Raycon, a Woodcraft, a American Beauty. What else? You can do any lathe you want. When you finally decide to step up and go to something like a 2436 or a 1640 or whatever, consider one way. But don't consider just the initial investment. Consider the total investment. These are people that care about you and want your business. And not going to sell out to Black & Decker or anybody at the end of the year. This is a family-owned operation. You're dealing with family. I talked to two brothers and a sister-in-law. You're dealing with family. So when you're looking to make a change, go there. If you're looking for parts and pieces and chucks and collets and all that, go to oneway.com. It's oneway.ca, I think, because they're in Canada. Yeah, I get some of my stuff from across the line. But they really worked with me to get this done. And we made a big deal of it. Folks, you're looking at me on one of the happiest days of my life. Really. Now, what am I going to do about the compression? I compressed those fibers when I did that cut because it rode that bevel. And that's a good thing. I rode that bevel and got it done. I got a good smooth cut. But sometimes the cut's too smooth to work with. Yeah. Because the guy will look at it and say, that's 320. I can start at 400. No, you can't. No, you can't. If you do that, you'll have scratches and grooves in your work. What do you want to do? We sell this by the gallon. It's a very expensive formula. It's called H2O. Other people call other things H2O, and sometimes they call tap water H2O. Well, that's what it is, tap water. I want to take tap water, and I'm going to wet the piece up. Yeah, I have lost my mind. I got a doctor's note that says that. I'm going to wet this piece up. Why? When I wet it, look how much I wet it, that much. When I wet it, I'm going to cause the fibers to move. And that's African Blackwood. They're not going to move a lot and go a whole lot of places, but they're going to move, and they're going to give me the little fuzzies that will come out in my finish and cause me to have rips and ridges. It kills me when I look at a finished piece and it's got gouges in it and marks in it where the wood tore out. Now, I'm being honest and fair to you folks. It means you didn't cut it. You got it done. You use one of my Blackhawk rigs or one of my cutters and you got it done. But sometimes just pulling the wood off isn't enough. You have to slice it off. There's a guy by the name of, what's that guy's name?
Arnold?
No, the guy coming next week at the Ken?
Silicate?
Ken Silicate, I think it is. He's a wood slicer. I like this guy. I know I'm not talking to myself. I got somebody out here. They're out there. They're really out there, okay? When this guy comes in a cut or do wood turning, he's not a wood turner. He's a wood slicer. What is the difference? The difference is this, and when I have some other wood up, I'm going to show it to you in detail. But when you make a cut and you use a gouge or a bow gouge or anything, if you just plow it in there and wood comes out, you've accomplished something. But you didn't accomplish what you were looking for. What you're looking for has to be done on a cut. So if you take the Blackhawk tools or the carbide tools and you rough it in, then you have to go to your 3/8 inch, personal preference, 3/8 inch Ellsworth gouge. It's a deep fluted gouge. It's not an exotic tool. David Ellsworth's got his name all over it, but I don't think David even makes them anymore. But they're available. You can go to Don at Dave at D-Way Tools, D-Way-Tools.com. Look, see it right there on the screen? Yeah, go there and ask him. Give him a call. Ask him, family-owned business. Ask him about this tool, because this tool, this is the third or fourth one I've put in his handle. I made this handle out of Cocobolo. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I heat the tool up, slide it out, and slide a new one in. Why? Because a couple I tried were irregular in the flute. This is perfect. The flute is where the danger is. Because if that's got a rise or a dip in it, it's going to give a rise or a dip to that cutting edge. And that's why I don't want it. I don't want to have teeth out there. I want a nice, smooth, rounded edge that I can slice with, that I can turn a handle and get that cut going. That's why you need the traditional tools. That's why if you go to something like a 3/8 inch deep fluted gouge, I don't care if it's a U or a W or a V, doesn't matter that much. You can do a parabolic grind on it using something like the Blackhawk rig, or pay more money, get a Wolverine or one of the other knockoffs of those things that come from the catalog services. But you do this with an elliptical grind, and you get this fingernail grind. Yeah, David Ellsworth told me that. Fingernail grind looks just like a lady's fingernail. And that's the way you want to cut it at. This is where you make that last slice. You clean up the outside using this. You don't have to shape the whole piece with it. I've done that before. But you're just cleaning it up, and those little curly cues are just peeling off. You're doing sweet work, baby. Sweet work. Because those curly cues indicate that you've got with the bevel, you've done a good clean cut, you've got the good shape you want, and when you get all done, you can dampen it up a little bit and see a little rise. And right now, I just see a little bit of rise. So when I now take my 120 paper, I start at 120 because I'm that good. Okay, take my 120 paper, and I think it's because I'm all out of 80. And start sanding it. I'll do 120, 180, 220, 320, 400. That's it. It's wood. It's high enough. I'm going to get the wood to be slick. I'm not going to have any pull marks. I'm not going to have any grooves and rises from where it was compressed and released. And trust me, when you sand it, it'll start releasing some more. That's why you went all the way down to 120 grit, so you can get it all even and start out again. You get that much work into it, it becomes, I want to use the word transparent, but it's the chatoyance and the reflection coming up out of the wood. And that reflection only comes back out the wood when it's treated right. So we've cut it right, we've sanded it, we've wet it, and then we sanded it right, and then we put the sealer on to finish it. That means the piece is ready to get gorgeous. But I've done what I needed to do to get it right. I've been handed many a piece and said, what do you think about this? My static answer years ago used to be, it'd be nice when you sand it out. Then you find out the guy really did sand it out. So I don't do that anymore. Now I tell him, you know how you can get rid of that? How did it go away? You got that pull out, you turned it out of cedar. Cedar's too soft. It's beautiful to turn, but it pulls apart. You got to slice cedar. Well, that's what Mark does. He slices it. And if you use that bevel and that cutting edge just right, you can roll it out. My goal in life, and I got to do this, is to show you how to use this tool. I'm not going to teach you how to turn. Show you how to use the tool so you can make that slice and it'll come out nice and sweet. I think you'll be the happiest with it. Now, considering this has been under production for 4 years, and the lathe just started dancing again, started running again, and I've been doing my happy dance, I think I did all right. I'm going to go back to doing something I call making shavings. Hope you're in the shop. Be careful. No rings, no watches. Don't get caught.